So it's interesting parsha because it's interesting in the perspective of the topics that are dealt with in this week's parsha are. It starts off first of all with the role of some of the families of the Levium, and then the Levium are counted, and then we have and then starting at Perik Hay, we learn that the Shekhinah is now coming down to descend and be among the people, and then therefore they were commanded that anybody's at Surua or Azav should be sent out of the camp, because nobody, like people of certain tumah had to be, like the whole camp certain camps became more holy than others, and when somebody is tumah, you can't be there in that place. And then the parasha goes on at Revi, and it talks about the whole parasha of a Isha Sota, a man who suspects his wife of of infidelity, and how to deal with what to do with her, and it's basically she's subjected to pretty much to a trial by ordeal. In other words, she's given this water that's mixed with a parchment is written with curses, and yes, Sylvia, and she drinks that, and if she was actually guilty, she gets affected by it right away and pretty much dies. And on the other hand, if she was innocent, if she didn't have any children, she'll be blessed with children, and so on. So one of the questions is since when does the Torah go for trial by ordeal? The whole Torah it says that Pishnei Edim Yakum Davar, that facts are established on the basis of the testimony of two witnesses, right? And here you have a situation of trial by ordeal. So I once heard that the Ramban says something like, because we're dealing with the issue of a suspected woman, it's like Hashem is saying, I don't trust you to be the judge, I'll be the judge. Because in a male-dominated society, these kinds of things could get out of hand. That's a Ramban. Now, immediately following that, and that's where we're going to start today, is the Parsha of Nazir. Okay, so it starts at the beginning of Perik Vav, at the beginning of chapter 6. Perik Vav. So the Torah says, "V'daber Hashem al Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta aleim." Speak to the children of Israel. Do you have it? Here, why don't you take this? Okay. Speak to the children of Israel and tell them. Yeah. Okay. Ish or Isha ki yafli lindor neder nazir lahazir Hashem. Man or a woman that iterates a vow to be a nazir to Hashem. Right? They verbally express this vow and to become a nazir. So first of all, the first thing that Rashi teaches on this opening pasuk, he says, Rashi says in pasuk bet, ki yafli, if you have Rashi, Yeah. So Rashi says, Yafrish, he expresses it. Then Rashi says, Lama nismacha Parshat Nazir the Parshat Suta. Why is the Parsha of Nazir juxtaposed with the Parsha of the Saita, the suspected woman? So he says, Lomar lecha, that the Torah is coming to teach you, Shekol haro'eh Suta b'kilkula, anyone who witnesses uh, a comes across a Saita in her corrupt behavior, Yazir Asmo Min Hayayin should then take on the vow of Nazirut, which basically involves, as you'll see in a minute, the prohibition of drinking wine. Shuhu may really deniyuf, because wine can lead one to adultery. So some of the commentaries on Rashi over here say that they extrapolate this a little bit, and they say basically, if you see someone that's doing something wrong and you're looking at them in a bad way, so then you should take on the vow of Nazirut. Okay. So it raises the question of Bichlal when you see negative behavior in others, right? What are you supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to do with that? As a matter of fact, just this morning, I was talking with somebody, and he told me that Reb Nachman, he said in Reb Nachman's name that if you see somebody doing something wrong and you want to help them get to the place of doing tshuva, you should include yourself in their transgression. In other words, let's explain that. Well, Shem Tov teaches that everything is hashgacha pratit. Everything is by divine providence, right? So if you see somebody doing something, whether it's chilul Shabbos or you see somebody losing their temper, whatever it is, or you see somebody shoplifting, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. If you see some negative behavior in someone else, so it was by divine providence that you got to see this, right? And you have to understand that Hashem was not just speaking Lashon Hara and saying, hey, Shai is doing, right? Why would Hashem want me to see somebody doing something wrong? So Baal Shem Tov says that basically what Hashem is telling me, you see that? You've got the same problem. Not exactly the same, but maybe in a more subtle way. And the example that the Baal Shem Tov brings is that if you see somebody being Mechalel Shabbos, it means that you also have that problem, and it could be that the way you have that problem is that you are being disrespectful of Talmidei Chachamim, who are referred to as being on the level of Shabbos in the Gemara. Understand? In some way, I've got that problem. And the other thing is that Hashem is also telling me, you have to get involved in fixing this. You have to get involved in making this better. Now, question is how? So if it's somebody that you can speak to, if it's someone that you can speak to and say, you know, I love you and I'm concerned about you, and I see that you're involved in doing this and this and this, and I want to help you get out of it. I want to help you overcome this issue and so on. So then that's the way to do it. What if it's somebody that you can't speak to? Well, give them a bracha and include yourself. You see, every day in the davening, we have before Baruch Shamar, in some Siddurim they don't have it at all, in other Siddurim they have it in a whole bunch of different places. There's a little line that says, L'shem yichud kudshu brichu shchinte, for the sake of the unification of the Holy One, blessed be He, and His Shechina, Liyachta Shem Yudke Bevavke, to unify Yudke with Vavke, Yichud Shlim, in a complete union, B'Shem Kol Yisrael, in the name of all of Israel. In the name of all of Israel, right? Now, that means that when we're davening, when we're learning, we've got to be doing it in the name of all of Israel. Remember, I told you the story about, I think it was the Sanzer came into the Beis Medrash one day, and he saw somebody was very happy, and he says, what are you so happy about? And he said, I just learned 10 blot of Talmud. And the Sanzer says, well, if you have me in mind as well, if you had all of Israel in mind as well, then I'm also happy, because you were learning for me too. I have a part in your learning. If you were just learning for yourself, I'm not interested. I don't need any part of your learning, you know. So to daven b'shem kol Yisrael. So you know how the Yetzer Hara operates, right? The Yetzer Hara operates like, like always in the matter of division. In one way or another, like, oh, I don't like what this person is doing. Push them away, right? I don't like what this group is doing. Push them away. We're better than them. I'm better than him. I'm better than her. Whatever it is. Well, whether you are or whether you're not, I don't know, and you don't know either. It could be that this person that you think is a real rotten egg or problematic, it could be that this person did one mitzvah in their life which is way beyond all the mitzvahs that you've ever done. You don't know. It's not, and if it was meant for you to know, then Hashem would make sure that you would know about it. If Hashem is not giving you that information, you don't know. But so when you're davening, like, you got to sort of think, like, okay, I'm upset with this person, but I want my davening to be for their benefit as well, right? This person is a yid no less than I am, and just for that alone, he's worth everything, right? So haroes sota b'kilkula, right? If somebody sees a site in her corrupt state, so he has to know that the fact that you're seeing this is because you yourself got that problem to some extent, and you better watch yourself and do something to protect yourself from going all the way in this issue. And that's why Yazir Tatzma Min Hayayim, control your intake of intoxicating drinks like wine. Now the word Nazir is a very interesting word. How do you say crown in Hebrew besides keter? Give me another word.
Atara.
Atara, good. Now give me another word. Nezar.
Nazir is a crown?
Yeah. And how do you say strange in Hebrew? Muzar. Right? And a stranger is ish zar, right? And a Nazir is called a Nazir for two reasons, because he's estranging himself from wine and anything that's made from the vine, and he doesn't cut his hair, which the Torah refers to as the crown of God upon his head. Look in Pasuk Zayin. The Nazir is also not allowed to come in, is not allowed to become Tamei Lemait. And if he has to go to a funeral, then so it says he's allowed to go to the funeral of La'aviv, Li'imo, La'achiv, La'achoto, for his father, his mother, for his brother, for his sister. I'm sorry, Lo Yitama Lahem. He should not even B'motam. He's not to become Tamei, even for his close relatives, which a Kohen is allowed to. Okay. And why not? Because the crown of his God is upon his head. So the Nazir, on the one hand, he's and by the way, what do you call him? A monk is a Nazir,
means
and a Minzar is a monastery, right?
Somebody told me, one of the official Nazir ceremony, how does he, what marks him as being a Nazir?
Just taking the vow.
Oh,
Yeah. And the general period of Nazirut is 30 days, unless he decides to be like a Nazir Olam. Now, if he wants to, for some reason or other, have his vow annulled, it can be done, in front of a Beis Din. But he has to have a good reason for doing it. In any case, it's a very, very serious thing to be a Nazir, and the rabbis were, generally did not recommend it. And if you look at the end of if you go to Pasuk Yud Gimel, so let's say he was a Nazir for 30 days, and now he's ending his period of Nazirut. So it says, "V'zot Torat HaNazir b'yom elot Yenei Nizro," and this is what's done with the Nazir on the day that he's fulfilled his period, his vow, his period of being a Nazir. Yavi oto al petach Ohel Moed. He's brought to the entrance of the Ohel Moed. V'ikriv et korbanot Hashem. He brings his sacrifice to God. What is his sacrifice? Kebes ben shnato. Tamim echad lo'olah. So he brings one sheep as of a year old, without blemish, as a korban olah, a male sheep, v'kafsa achad bat shnatat tmima lechatat, and also a female sheep, also of a year old, and also without blemish. The chatat, he has to bring a sin offering, as a sin offering. V'aya lechat tamim l'shlamim, and one ram as a peace offering. He also has to bring besal matzot solet chalot belulot b'shemen. He has to bring a basket full of matzot, of fine flour that was mixed with oil, or kikim matzot mishuchim b'shamen, u'minchatam v'niskeyam. So he has to bring a korban mincha as well. V'ikriv hakohen lifnei Hashem, and the kohen brings all this before God. V'asat chatato v'teulato, and he sacrifices the korban chatat and the korban olah. And then further on, v'ta'ayil yaseh zevach shlamim, and the ram is offered as a korban shlamim l'Hashem. Al sal hamatzot, together with the basket of matzot. V'asa kohen et minchato v'et nisko, and the kohen goes ahead and performs the ceremony of the korban mincha and the wine libation that goes with it. And then v'gilach hanazir petach ohel moed et rosh nizro. Then they shave his head, the hair on his head. Lakach esar rosh nizro v'natan al ha'esh asher tachat zevach shlamim, and the hair is burned together with the sacrifice of the korban shlamim. Okay, so the question is, why does the Nazir have to bring a korban chatat? Why does he sin offering? What sin did he do? Right? Well, so but to be a Nazir is a mitzvah. Right? He's doing a And one of the explanations is, it's interesting, there's two explanations. One is similar to what Sivya said. Hashem created the world and gave us enough things that are prohibited, and the things that are permitted, Hashem wants us to enjoy. And he went ahead and took this Nizirut, took on this Nizirut. If you move a bit more there, it'll be easier to see you. Took on this Nizirut and is prohibited from enjoying one of God's creations. The other opinion is, you became a Nazir, you became so holy, why are you stopping? Why are you stopping? Why did you stop? Right? You already went on this journey. Why are you, why did you stop? So it's interesting that two perspectives, right? Similar to a discussion. Two passages in the Gemara. One says that when we come to Shemayim, we're going to be asked, did you enjoy all the things that God gave you to enjoy in this world? And one Gemara says, if you say yes, you're going to get whacked. The other Gemara says, if you say no, I was like a really frummy, I didn't participate in the pleasures of life, you're going to get whacked. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, that's the contradiction. The Gemara answers, it depends on whether you made a bracha or not. If you make a bracha and you're elevating what the gifts that Hashem gave you, so then you're actually doing a mitzvah. But if you're enjoying this world without making the brachas, then that's a problem. So why is it possible? So why is it possible for a Nazir who took on Nazirut? Why is it possible for him to annul his vow? And so there's an Ishbisur teaching, because later on at the end of Sefer Dvarim, we have another mitzvah, and that is that, let's say somebody decides, for good reasons, that they're not going to eat meat for a certain period of time, or anything else, right? So the Ishbisur explains that and so the Torah says, if you took a vow, then you have to keep it, right? You made a vow, which says Fatecha Tishmo. You're not allowed to make a vow and disregard it, right? And the Ishbisur explains it there that it's like this whole mitzvah of vows is like Hashem giving you a blank mitzvah card that you can fill in. In other words, if you feel that you need to take on a certain practice because you need to do it to get closer to Hashem, you feel that then Hashem is giving you this blank mitzvah card and he's saying, here, write in your mitzvah as a vow, and that's now a mitzvah for you. So if that's the case, why can it be annulled? Why couldn't it come to an end? And basically, either you've changed or circumstances have changed, and what may have been appropriate for you yesterday might not be appropriate for you in your Avodat Hashem today. Okay, so you're allowed to do that, and likewise with the Nazir. The Nazir, it could be that it's appropriate for him to be a Nazir for his lifetime, but it's also possible that it's not appropriate for him to be a Nazir for his lifetime, and he needs to have his vow annulled. Okay, or if it was more appropriate to do a 30-day thing, so you should do just a 30-day thing. But one should be careful. Bichlal, one should is taught in this form that one should be careful not to take on extra responsibilities, like through vows, unless you really, really need to do it. And a couple of years ago, I was at the Shabbos Hagadol Drush of Rav Steinsaltz. So he said that, it says in this forum that if a person is taking down chumras, and he's not on the level of taking chumras, the angels laugh. Like, and except for Pesach. Pesach, everybody is allowed to do, everybody is allowed to be machmir. But otherwise, huh? What's the chumras of Chanukah?
We're supposed to just light one candle each night.
Oh, that's Mahadrin. That's what the chumra.
That's not a chumra.
That's not a chumra. That's Mahadrin. The chumra is, you heard the joke about this guy comes to shul and he's smiling and and he's normally not such a happy guy. And people are saying, Shmuli, what's the simcha? What's the joy? And he says, I got a new chumra and I'm not telling. Okay? But you want to be, if you want to be machmir, then keep it private. Don't let people know, oh, I'm machmir. You want to be machmir.
What if it's kashrut? Like people come into my house, they want to know what type of kashrut.
So you should okay, good. So you should tell them.
No, I don't mind telling them, but let's say that person, they can't keep it private. They want to.
So nobody's obligating them to eat, but once they're hitting the shear from their think that this was a shaila that was that was asked. You're the Rav in town. Okay? You're the rabbi, you're the one who you're the one who paskins. And you're invited to a simcha. And there's 2 kosher butchers in town. And both of them get your hechsher. But you buy particularly from one because of the chumrah. The other one's also kosher, but he doesn't keep the same chumras that you're keeping. And you're invited to this wedding, and you find out that the meat is coming from the butcher that you don't normally eat from. And they bring you the food to the table, and they put it in front of you, and you're the Rav. Mm-hmm. Should you eat it? Should you not eat it?
Sure.
Huh?
Sure.
Because?
Because if not, then people have so many friends who are like, they're not going to want to eat it if you're not eating it.
You're 100%.
Other guy out of business.
You're 100% right.
It happened actually to me once. I was in New York, and I was with my sister and my mom, and we were inquiring about a restaurant. And we managed to get the mashgiach. And he said, I wouldn't eat there. That's what he said on the phone. I wouldn't eat there.
So why didn't he quit his job?
Right. So yeah. I mean, we managed to catch him in trouble. He wasn't there.
Huh?
He wasn't there in person.
But even if he's the mashgiach of the place.
Right. He said, I wouldn't. That's what he said. I wouldn't eat there.
So then he should resign.
Right. I know. That was like the irony.
You should have told him, hi, Hashem. Then he should have resigned immediately. You know what he was basically saying? He's saying that I'm not trustworthy. He's saying I myself am not trustworthy.
But you have mashgichim here in Jerusalem that don't eat the restaurants that the mashgichim are.
So that's different from saying I wouldn't eat there. You want to keep the chumras, huh?
I know because of the whole thing that remember when I was inquiring about.
Yeah.
The mashgichim that are mashgichim of certain restaurants won't eat in those restaurants.
Because
they're Haredi and the restaurants get a regular rabbanut.
Okay, that's different.
How is that different?
No, they're saying that I'm keeping certain chumras, like, and this is a regular hashgacha, and it's kosher, right? I'm telling somebody I wouldn't eat there. It sounds very different.
Okay.
It's you're the mashgiach and you're telling somebody I wouldn't eat there?
That's what they're saying.
No, you can say I I keep certain chumras which are chumras, and that's okay.
Okay.
And so like what Sylvia was saying is like, that Rav sitting at the table, everybody is watching him, and if they see that he refused, that he doesn't eat it, the sin of or the damage that he might be causing to this other butcher is far greater than any spiritual damage he might cause to himself by giving up his chumras for that evening.
Right.
I heard a story just recently. I heard it, I think, on Shabbos and Shul, that this Litvak came to was at by the Friedricher Rebbe on Pesach, and the Litvaks, they eat gebroks. You know what gebroks is? Like, they
Matzah balls.
not just matzah balls. They'll put their matzah into the soup, and that's matzah shvuya. Okay, so he was sitting there with the rest of the Hasidim, and he takes the matzah and crumbles the matzah into his borscht. You know what borscht is? It's beet soup. Selling,
This is the Friedrich
by the Friedricher Rebbe, yeah. So the Hasidim started making a fuss, and the Friedricher Rebbe asked, "What's going on?" And he said, "Oh, this guy, crumbled his matzah into the borscht." So the Friedricher Rebbe says, "Better that the matzah should turn red than the yid should turn red." Like people lose perspective. There is. Yeah,
I mean, I guess if you're a Rebbe, it's tzaddik, you could say that. I don't see that amongst people.
I didn't say what you
Pesach.
see him. I'm just saying that, but this is the thing: is that, in other words, don't lose perspective, and that's a big yetzer hara. The holier than thou attitude is a big yetzer hara. If you're on a level where the yetzer hara knows that he's not going to get you to do transgression, right? So how does the yetzer hara come and attack you? Well, one way is, you see, you're better than that guy. You're better than that guy. I'm better than this guy. I'm better than this guy. And you know what that means? It means that you've stopped growing. Dr. Rebbe in the Tanya basically says that if you walk around thinking that you're better than somebody else, you're no longer it's because you're not satisfied with yourself, and you're looking for the satisfaction by finding someone to say that I'm better than them. And that's a dangerous yetzer hara, because if I do an avera, if I do a transgression, I know that I did a transgression, and I have to do tshuva, okay, and hopefully will. But if I'm not doing the transgression, I'm just thinking I'm better than somebody else. Well, that means I'm okay. I don't have to do any more than I'm doing. I'm okay. And the proof that I'm okay is I'm better than you. Right? Very dangerous. But the story with the Rebbe of Zusha. Before he passed away, the students said, "Are you afraid of going upstairs?" And he said like this: if Hashem asks Zusha, "Why weren't you like Abraham Avinu?" Zusha is going to laugh. If Hashem says, "Why weren't you like Moshe Rabbeinu?" Zusha is going to laugh. Zusha is only afraid of one question: Zusha, why weren't you Zusha? Why didn't you do everything that you were supposed to do? And that's the only question that we really have to be worried about, is to be ourselves and to really maximize our potential and to the fullest, and fulfill our purpose and destiny, and not to look down at others. It's a rule of thumb that if you're looking down at somebody else, that means I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? Because, let's say within society there are issues, there are things that need to be fixed. like objectively speaking, there are problems, whether it be,
Mm-hmm.
very extreme things like, God forbid, like child abuse, or whether it be, you know, serious issues, whatever. Like, so, things need to be addressed. So, from what perspective can I'm
From
not
the
saying that you ignore
perspective,
it, that's what I'm saying, you're
no,
there,
from the perspective of I'm part of this society, and I have a responsibility to make things better and to improve things. Period. But if it's going to be from the perspective of, yesterday there was the Hilula for Mayor Abu Sayer at my I guess you weren't able to come, but
I didn't know that.
no. Anyway, so once I remember him giving a talk in Montreal. It was in French, the Sephardic community, and I was talking to a room full of Bali Tshuva, and they were saying, what very often happens with Bali Tshuva, they become God's policemen. They start looking at, hey, how come you're not doing this? How come you didn't do this so well? And he was saying to the crowd, he was saying, you know what that means? It means that you've stopped growing. You're not doing what you need to be doing. Now, if you see, so Sylvia, you're raising a good point. If something needs to be corrected, it needs to be corrected. So go ahead and do what you can to correct it. But be very, very careful about how you do it, because it's not something pashut. If, for example, the Gemara already rules a couple of thousand years ago that the Torah says, you should surely rebuke your fellow. But even back in the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Tarfon, they're saying nobody knows how to give rebuke anymore. Nobody knows how to take rebuke. Okay, so the Lubavitch Rebbe said that given that the Gemara rules this way, that basically means you have to love every Yid, even if they're not such good people, or they're not serving Hashem so well. And if you can go and approach a person from a place of love, then you're going to get a lot further than by giving them rebuke. And Reb Nachman warns that if you rebuke somebody and you don't know how to do it, you're going to make it worse. You're going to put them into a negative space, and they're more likely to go and do more negative things. And therefore, don't do it. And also, like the halacha, by the way, is if you're going to rebuke someone and you know that they're not going to listen, you're not allowed to rebuke them. Because if they're doing something that's wrong, but they're doing it b'shoigeg, they're doing it unintentionally, right? And you go and you tell them, hey, what you're doing is totally asur, and if now they're going to continue doing it anyway, then you've done something which will get them into far more trouble than they were getting into before. So, yeah, okay.
What's the difference between rebuke and objecting to something? Let's say, I don't think that we should have given Gaza to the Palestinians, but the people that were supporting it, if I say to them, you're wrong and I don't think this is right, is that rebuke or is that objecting? And where's the line?
That's objecting.
What's the difference?
Rebuke is you see somebody doing something that's a transgression. Okay, the Torah says, "Hocheach tochiach et amitecha."
This is giving the land back your transgression.
Okay, according to the Rabbi, according to you, according to many, yes, and the Rabbi rebuked them for it. But so long as there was still a possibility of preventing it.
What I'm trying to say is, if somebody were to come to me and say, "This is my claim," and I don't object to it because I don't want to cause any strife between myself and a fellow Jew. I just want to love that person. But then I'm making myself into a doormat.
Rebuking is right before we have to go. It says, There's a group of mitzvot there. Lotikon velotito. No, תשנא את אחיך בלבביך, הוכיח תוכיח את עמיתך. לא תיקון ולא תיטול. Give me the Vayikra, please. And one of them. That's fine. The brown one is good. It doesn't matter. Okay. Right? So it says like this. Don't hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely rebuke him. And don't carry a sin because of him. Now one pshat there is that don't embarrass him. The other one is that if you don't rebuke the person, and you could have prevented the person from doing a transgression by rebuking him, so if you didn't rebuke him, then you are now a partner in that transgression, because you could have prevented it. Then it goes on, Lo tikun v'lo tito, don't take revenge and don't bear a grudge. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, you shall love your fellow like you love yourself, and the Hashem. So this is a string of mitzvot. So if you have something against somebody, if you're upset with somebody about something, and you don't tell them, you don't do tochacha, right? You're not going to be able to fulfill if you're going to bear a grudge against somebody, if you're going to hate him in your heart, then you cannot fulfill properly. Part of is to deal with, is to bring these things up.
I'll give a better example. A restaurant that's open on Shabbos.
Yeah.
People that go to it, the people that don't, the people that get angry that it's open and throw, rocks or eggs at it.
Yeah. So what's the question?
So you have an opinion on one way or the other, and how do you talk to your fellow Jew without rebuking him in a way that he can't accept it? You said you can't bring
the question. So you have to find a reason to keep Shabbos. Focus on the positive. Is it true that you're not allowed to do this? And you say, yes, we don't do it. You stay with yes. But the idea is, like, how did the Mishnah says, Hillel says, he loved peace and he pursued peace. He loved people and he would bring them close to the Torah. That's the way. You understand? Huh?
It's interesting that was who he was, and the fact that he was becoming like
that's that, because the Kohen is supposed to bring people close, help people get closer to Hashem, and like the Baal Shem Tov says, the gateway to being closer to Hashem is through gateway to Ahavat Hashem is through Ahavat Yisrael. Okay, and imagine somebody says to somebody, "Hey, I love you, but I can't stand your kids." Chas v'shalom, right? Right? God is saying to Hashem, Chas v'shalom, "I love you, God, but I can't stand your kids." So Hashem says, do me a favor. That's not Yiddishkeit. Okay. So, if you know that there's a possibility of the person listening, and you can encourage them, and you can get them to do one mitzvah, and then to get them another mitzvah, and you're davening for them, etc., etc. That's the mahalach. That's the derech. But if you're going to go to the guy and you're going to say, "Hey, listen, Rabbi, what are you doing? You're not allowed to do this, etc., etc. And you know that he's not going to listen. Then don't talk to that person that way. Don't talk to
You
that
know,
person.
down in Chicago, maybe you know Rabbi Shlomo Hecht. He was a brother of J.J. Hecht. Okay, so when Holocaust survivors in Chicago, none of them, they're all open on Shabbos.
Right.
And he personally, he knew how to talk with people. He was a big time chacham, you know. He personally had four store owners who kept the store open on Shabbos, and they stopped because of he used to visit them all the time.
Yeah.
But he knew how to talk to them. He said
Right.
it's more beneficial. You know, he knew what to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, and you
So he's
knew
educated.
yeah.
So he stopped people from desecrating Shabbos. But
Yeah.
you have to know how to do it.
You have to know how
You
to
can't
do it.
go like this.
If you're going to stand there, and throw stones or
Exactly.
scream Shabbos, it's not going to, like, so how did Aaron and Cohen make peace between people? So what Shlomo explains is that when somebody would come with a sin offering, you think Aaron and Cohen was looking at him and saying, like, oh wow, here comes another sinner? What he was doing was he was putting the person back in touch with his real essence, with his essence neshama, and put him back in touch with his essence neshama, and when the person got back in touch with that, he himself would already feel like, like, why? How could I have done this? It doesn't suit me, And that's the derech. Okay. So, but getting back to to what we were saying in the Parsha, we have a responsibility, and look at what follows immediately after the Nazir. Go to Pasuk Chaf Bet. So there's Birkat Kohanim. Vaydaber Hashem Moshe lemor, daber el Aaron v'banav lemor, kotel aruchu et bnei Yisrael. Here's how you should bless the children of Israel. Amor lahem, tell them, Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, yair Hashem panav elecha v'chuneka. May Hashem bless you and guard you, and may Hashem enlighten you and shine His face upon you and give you grace. Yiseh Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Right? So immediately following this is like saying, brachot are a very, very powerful thing. And Rav Nachman explains that what is a bracha? A bracha is meshicha, is drawing the person. Yes. What do you want to say?
But does that person have to be ready to hear the bracha?
Well, a chassid once came to the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he said, can you give me a blessing for a certain thing? And the Rebbe said, a blessing is like rain. If it falls on concrete, it's useless. So the chassid understood. So he says, Rebbe, bless me to break open my heart. The Rebbe was saying to him, like, your heart is closed, so a blessing won't help. The brachot usually help a lot. The Birkat Kohanim is a very, very powerful thing. And by the way, I think you need to take the Kohanim aside and
Thank God for Yehuda.
huh?
At least Yehuda said, is that what you're talking about? They've got the Kohanim?
No, just they should know the nigun properly.
It's only one person that sings it.
Well, maybe we should give them a little bit of a workshop. No, but just get them together and teach them the nigun, because it's such a beautiful nigun. But it's like, if you teach it to them, they'll learn it.
Yes, sir.
You're the choir master. Okay. In any case, very briefly, what is this? What are these blessings? So the first blessing, Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, is about. The first blessing is about material goods. Hashem should bless you with good parnasa and livelihood. And v'yishmerecha, he should guard you that you shouldn't lose it, right?
There you go. That you shouldn't be cement.
You shouldn't be cement. You should, it's like a human being can give somebody $100, but he can't protect him from losing it. But Hashem can give you $100, $1,000, $1 million, and also protect you from losing it. Yair Hashem panav elecha v'choneka is a bracha for in learning Torah. That Hashem's light should be shining to you, and v'choneka, that He should give you grace, means that when you're learning, your learning should be beautiful. That especially for teachers, that the Torah should be, that the Torah that they're learning with other people should be sweet. It should be beautiful. A lot of people say good things, but nobody wants to receive it from them because it's not coming in a beautiful way. It's not coming in a beautiful way. It's not coming in a way that makes them feel, yeah, I want this. Right? So when learning Torah, it's a special blessing to be able to learn with people in a way that they can say, that's so beautiful, That's v'chuneka. And then the third bracha is the bracha of tshuva, and that is that Hashem should lift His countenance to you and v'yasem lecha shalom, and restore you to being whole and complete. So shalom is more than not being at war. Shalom is being at one, being complete, being whole. Okay? Shalom bayit doesn't mean that the husband and wife aren't fighting. It means that they know how to be one. Okay? Mashlim echad l'sheni. That they become shalem together.
I have a thought. The person that's able to make a living and learn Torah is really bringing two opposites together.
Also, yes.
People that make money, they usually focus
very
just on
nice.
that.
So you're putting together the.
That makes it complete.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, I'm sorry we started late, but thank you for being here. You will be there? Yeah. Okay, we're stopping now. Were you able to hear?
Okay.
Were you able to hear?
A little bit.
I wish you would have told me. I would have spoken louder. I put the speaker closer to my mouth. But you got something, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's try to learn tomorrow, Mr. Hashem, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Sei gebencht. Kommt zu Vetzlachen.
So in this bit here,
Yeah.
on the bracha,
Yeah.
is this Moshe saying it, or is this